Hello and welcome to My Xbox and Me, episode 234. I am one of your hosts, MC Fixer, alongside the one and only Too Fresh Crash. How are you, Crash?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm absolutely fine.
How's your head feeling?
My head is I'm feeling good. No headache, no nothing. I'm good, bro. How about you? How's things? How's life?
Life's why? Why?
So for those who don't know, who are not watching the video version, which is probably most of you, it's fine. I have a bandana on this week. There's why? What's wrong with it?
Why the bandana?
Well, I'll tell you the truth.
Okay.
Number one,
Okay.
my hair is getting to a length where it's making hats uncomfortable.
Got it. Okay.
So when I wear hats, I usually wear my hat backwards, right?
Yeah.
That's a normal, and then my hair at the front is like there, you can see it, but whatever. Yeah, it's usually fine. I can't do it at the moment. It's uncomfortable after a long period of time. So
Got it, okay.
so I was like, you know what? Today I'm gonna put on a bandana, which I bought when I went to Egypt because I knew it was gonna be hot in Egypt. So I'm gonna need a bandana. So I bought a couple of bandanas. I was like, all right, cool. And I just went for it today, Chris. You know, I just went for it. I trimmed up my beard a little bit, cut myself shaving this side there, and then I just kind of went for it.
So you didn't try messing with your hairline?
So
Your hairline's perfectly fine?
about that, Crash. So
Okay.
my hairline is my hairline's fine. It needs shaping. It's
Okay.
fine. Nah, the problem I do have is my sideburns. So I might have been trimming down my sideburns, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
And because obviously it's getting that looks ridiculous. I've got to pull that down at least. Sorry about that. So yeah, I was trimming my sideburns, and I was like, oh yeah, this is fine. I'm just gonna take them down a bit, get them to sort of the same sort of length as my terrible beard. All right, and I might have went a little bit too low, and there might be two big gaps between my hairline and my sideburns now. That might be a thing. But I've not had sideburns before, but not lately. And I'm a bit like, I don't know, I feel weird about it. So I'm like, I want to just get rid of the sideburns, but I don't know how to do it with a razor and make it look good. Because I don't want like a straight line, because that would look really weird.
You gotta get mans to shape that.
I need my barber.
Yeah.
I'm at that point in life right now. But yeah,
Just risk it for the barber.
oh yeah, I'll just ring up my
Yo.
yo Larry, how are you, brother? Hope you're keeping well. Yeah, Corona's happening, but my hairline's in pieces. Can you come and hook a brother up?
Yeah, don't worry about it. I'll fly my brother over.
That's what I was about to say. You got your fresh trim. I'm out here. Oh man, it's not good. It's not good. But yeah, you're gonna have to deal with a bandana. I'm sorry. I'm surprised you didn't wreck me more. Haley was like, Crush is about to wreck you. And I was like, look, no.
For a bandana?
Yeah.
Why would I wreck you for a bandana? It's just weird seeing you in a bandana.
What about if I turn the bandana?
No. And then I will wreck you. Stop.
What about if I do it like this way? How about this? Is that better?
You could do that if that makes you happy. You look a bit goofier, but like,
I just had Tupac used to wear his bandana.
yes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I can't do that. I'm not Tupac. I'm sorry. I've got to turn it back around. Anyway, this is My Xbox and Me, our weekly Xbox podcast. You can get it everywhere. iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, all those podcast services. Also, you can get the video version on YouTube, youtube.com/myxboxandme. If you're new to the podcast, go subscribe over there. One day we'll get content out. I swear. One day. Other than the podcast.
With what's going on, it'd be like the perfect time to record content.
So, funny story. I'm starting a second channel. I'm starting a new MC Fixer channel, which is going to be MC Fixer. No, it's just going to be Fixer Gaming. So you can probably go find it already. You can go subscribe if you want. I've not put anything up. I've not even put a banner up yet, so don't worry about subscribing yet. But yeah, Fixer Gaming. And the reason I'm doing that is because anytime I put gameplay on my main channel, it performs awful, right? I was
Yeah.
like, do you know what? I'm just going to start a second channel. I can throw VODs up there. I can throw like original content up there. But that's where my gameplay is going to go from now on. Like, I've been in this weird period with like Final Fantasy. I'm like, oh, I should shoot Final Fantasy. I should stream Final Fantasy. But I'm like, I don't want to stream Final Fantasy because it's going to do terrible view-wise on Twitch. And I was like, oh, I'll shoot it as a Let's Play. Oh, it's going to do terrible view-wise as a Let's Play on my main channel. Where if there's no subscribers, there's no pressure, there's no nothing on the other channel, it's like, does it matter if it performs badly? No, because I'm building it.
It doesn't make the rest of your content look worse.
Exactly. It's when I go to press, I'm like, hey, go check out my channel. They're like, why is this Final Fantasy VII Remake Let's Play got 2 views? You're like, I don't know. My mum clicked it for me. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
How are you, Kresh? How is the COVID-19 situation? How have you gone insane yet?
Oh, I'm perfectly fine.
I'm
a sane person.
I've got to be honest. I'm perfectly fine too. I'm perfectly fine too.
I know it's a meme, but like, I've been ready for this for a minute.
I mean,
in a weird way.
Yeah, not on purpose, but like I'm
Yeah.
used to standing indoors. I'm used to living on whatever's left in the house. I'm used to sitting down for long periods of time. Hence why I'm so fat. I was kind of ready for this. I was ready for the pandemic. I didn't want it to happen, but I was ready for it.
Yeah.
And yeah, how's family doing? How are they coping?
Family is.
You just told me a crazy story.
Oh yeah. So before we were shooting the podcast, I was like, "Yo, Fix, I'm gonna go make a cup of coffee real quick. I'll be on right now." And I go over there, and I'm expecting everybody to be asleep.
Of course.
And I see my brother and my sister and my dad on the dining room table just playing Catan. And mind you, like, not a problem. Play Catan, whatever you want to do. But it's 5 o'clock in the morning and they haven't gone to bed yet. So this is the second time they've done it this week.
Yeah.
3 or 4 days ago, I go over there, same situation, but it's like 1 a.m, so it's not that bad. And they're like, play a game of Catan. I'm like, sure, I'll play a game of Catan. If you guys don't know, Catan's a very long game.
Like Monopoly? Like super long? That's all length?
I don't think as long as Monopoly, but it's a lengthy game. I can't tell you because I haven't played Monopoly in forever. And every time I play, I end up quitting halfway through because somebody's like, I don't really want to play this anymore.
How would you feel if we get me, you, and 2 more streamers together? Maybe like Paul or someone and somebody else. We all say 5 gifted subs, Monopoly. Online Monopoly. Boom.
I'd be down for that.
I feel like people would watch that.
I'd be down for that.
But it has to be the long version, yeah? I'm not playing those like, quick game. This ain't like Uno, yeah? I want a long... No. 5 gifted subs, that's a lot of subs.
Okay,
alright?
Here's the thing with Uno. Uno's not meant to be that long.
Yeah.
It's not a normal game of Uno. No,
okay.
it's not.
Alright, let's just let it go. Let's just let it go.
Anyway, so yeah, they asked me to play a game, and I play a game. And I'm like, okay, you want to play one more? I'm like, no, 1 game of Catan's like enough for me. It's a long game. I don't want to... They ended up playing 3 or 4 matches after that.
So it was like it was longer than Monopoly usually for them.
Yeah.
So
they sat there for
I suppose they've got nothing else to do, right? Like,
yeah.
I assume the rest of your family, other than your brother's, not into video games.
No.
So, like, what are they doing? Watching TV and playing board games and reading a book, maybe?
Yeah. My parents are on their phone, Candy Crush.
Oh, okay, so they are gamers.
Normal,
just
no older.
Oh, they're just
people stuff.
That's literally Hayes' dad at the moment. I love it. I go in there, and he's always playing this one of the either Candy Crush or some other mobile game. I'm just like, still going, eh? Still going. Proud of you, Martin. Proud of you.
Yeah, you know how we talk about our lack of commitment to games, where we'll like play a game for a little bit and then leave it. They have nothing like that. They are committed.
Look, if Martin was a Candy Crush streamer on Twitch, he would be killing the game right now. He's consistent. He plays regularly. He doesn't miss a day. It's ridiculous.
Candy Crush streamers on Twitch?
There's gotta be. There's a streamer for everyone.
Probably.
There's gotta be.
Probably.
Yeah. Anyway, on this week's My Xbox and Me, we will be talking about Resident Evil 4 and it's getting a remake. Final Fantasy 7 is selling very well in the UK, physically and digitally. And Xbox is buying Sega. Let's find out now. Kresh, let's start with topic of the show this week, which is Capcom is working on Resident Evil 4. But why? Capcom has greenlit a Resident Evil 4 remake following the reimagining of the RE2 and RE3. Multiple development sources have told VGC that Resident Evil 4 remake has now entered full production with an estimated release window in 2022. Development is being led by Osaka, thank you. See, it's the OS. It's different sounds in Japanese, right? Nah, I'm just saying shit. Based yeah, I'm just chatting crap. Don't worry about me. M2 Studio, the new studio founded by former Platinum Games head Tatsuya Minami.
Minami.
Nah, that ain't Minami. I've seen Minami. Yeah, maybe you're right. Which has been preparing for the project since 2018. However, similar to how the 2020's Resident Evil 2 was directed by company Redworks, Capcom's internal teams and other external studios are likely to lend significant development resources. More alleged details have emerged on Capcom's Resident Evil 4 remake project, including claims that it will be co-developed by parts of the RE2 and the Devil May Cry V team. It's understood that the remake has been blessed of the original game director Shinji Mikami, the god, who has officially declined an approach to lead the project himself, but has provided informal advice on its direction. Crush.
Yes.
Obviously, this is big news.
Yes.
For me, big news in a different way. But we'll get to that. Let's just stick on topic, which is Resident Evil 4 is getting a remake. How does that make you feel? Did you ever play Resident Evil 4? I don't remember if that's one you've played or not.
No, I have not.
So you didn't experience what some people call one of the greatest games of all time?
Yeah.
Why? Out of interest. Just what stopped you from playing an iconic game? You know, like, there's those games out there that people they'll go back and play because people talk about it so much. Like, why was Resident Evil 4 not one of them for you?
I'm gonna be completely honest.
Yeah.
The cover art does nothing for me.
Okay. Just
around the time where this game.
Yeah.
Around the time where this game was out, like, and I would have seen it in stores and whatever. When I was a kid, I judged a lot by cover art.
Yeah.
That is not an interesting cover art.
Well, it's just the red.
Kind of
it's just
boring.
red with Resident Evil 4 in the front. There's no characters. There's no nothing. Especially that was on the GameCube version, and then they updated it for the PS2. They did the same thing, but with a metal case. And this is how I'm such a nerd. I know like every single case they got. But yeah, okay.
So,
yeah.
Any picture I saw was always the picture of Leon. Nothing ever looked interesting for that game. For me, for that game. And I know people talked about it, so I just was never like, I never was into Resident Evil before that. So there was no reason for me to like be like, I'm gonna jump into this.
It's that Final Fantasy thing for me, right? Where it's like, there's Resident Evil 4, there's 4 games before it. Oh god, nah, I'm alright. I don't really want to play 1, 2, and 3. And it's like, well, actually, you can play Resident Evil 4 and not have to worry about anything that happens previous, really. I'm split on this. Obviously, as a kid and growing up, I loved Resident Evil 4. Then you realise what it actually did to the series, and I started to sour a little bit more on Resident Evil 4. Played it on the Wii, loved it again, because the Wii version is probably the best version of Resident Evil 4. Which is strange to say, right? And now I'm at this point where, like, I respect what Resident Evil 4 did for the industry because I understand gaming a little bit more, but I also hate it for what it did to Resident Evil, fixed camera angle, stuff like that. But now you see the evolution of that with 2 and 3. You're like, no, this is the way Resident Evil should be. So I'm kind of hopeful that they just turn Resident Evil 4 into like a dark, gritty game. Like, if you notice with the RE engine is super beautiful, but it's at its best when it's dark and it looks kind of wet and it's like gloomy and stuff like that. Resident Evil 4 isn't that game. So I'm very interested to see what that turns into, if I'm being honest.
I wouldn't be too hopeful for it to be a gloomy game.
Yeah, that's kind of
the former head of Platinum Games, head of Platinum Games.
But Resident Evil 3, that's the same team that did Resident Evil 3. They did the Resident Evil 3 remake. It's the former Platinum team.
Yeah.
And that's dark and gloomy.
That's dark and gloomy, but it's also action heavy, no?
Yeah, but
like that's how I've heard it described.
But so is Resident
So
Evil
what
4.
you're talking about? So what you're talking about? Just like tonally.
I'm talking about
making it-
tonally. I'm talking
Okay,
about
so not-
environments. I'm not. I
So you're not
genuinely.
talking
Go on.
Resident Evil 2 Dark and Gloomy.
No,
You're talking
no,
about,
no.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've
no.
misunderstood
I don't. It will still be. It's not gonna. Again, let's get it in people's heads nice and early. So when we keep talking about it, it's gonna make sense. Resident Evil 4 is not a survival horror game. It's a survival action game.
Yeah.
With a little bit of horror. Like it's not.
Yeah.
That's
the
not,
horror's on the side. It's not the main attraction.
Exactly. Yeah. What I mean by what I'm saying is it's environments. Environments are not. They're not dark. They're not like you're at a cave and then you're inside a castle like thing, and like it's just not a dark game in that regard. Like there's a part where you go through a graveyard that's dark. That would be really cool. I believe that would be nice. But even its enemy types, they're so different because the virus is so different to the way 2 and 3 are, and even 1, that I'm like, I don't know how this works. It's not zombies. You gotta remember, there's not zombies in RE4. It's Las Plagas is the virus, and yeah, it's just not. I'm very interested, but I'm very hopeful because this could be a total retcon of all the things I hate about Resident Evil 4. The fact that protecting the president's daughter, like that could have been a section in the game, not the whole damn game. Her being telling her to wait and stay and attack, and like that part of the game didn't like that. There's a lot there that I didn't like, and there's a lot of filler in there. But if they're going to do the same thing they did to RE3, where they do trim the fat and get us from point A to point B in the story beat, and maybe even add characters like Jill or obviously Ada will be in the game, but Ada, maybe we actually get to see Wesker in Resident Evil 4 this time because we've not had him in the RE engine yet. It could have potential to be a great game. Will we get that? Also, the Mercenaries modes in Resident Evil 4 are fantastic. So, I don't know. It seems like an interesting one where I'm like, there's a lot you can do wrong in this game. And I just don't... Especially the one thing that worries me the most is the time frame for release window. Like, I just don't think 2 years is enough time to get it right.
Right. Oh man, it depends, right? Because here it says that it'll be co-developed by parts of the Resident Evil 2 team.
Yeah,
there's a possibility that it's already in production.
They might have had a small team already working on assets, already starting the process 100%.
Yeah.
So maybe it's more 2.5 to 3 years than it is actually 2 years.
Yeah.
But yeah,
yes.
I don't know. It seems like it just doesn't seem like the right move, which we'll get onto now. Let's get into Fix the Sack real quick. And the first question comes in and says this: looks like RE4 is getting a remake treatment next if recent rumours are to be believed. My question is, why did Capcom do Code Veronica dirty like that? I'm not an RE fan, and I think the lore and world building is interesting, but I can never get into the games. It seemed like hardcore RE fans are demanding for Code Veronica, but Capcom seems to be going for the general audience with this approach, as RE4 is basically everything and is loved by everyone. Are they going to go back to Code Veronica, or should fans give up and wait for the eventual RE5 remake after 4 from Zyger? Obviously, I had a little bit of a meltdown on Twitter in video form. I could have went way worse. I was so upset. I was actually so upset when I heard this all come out, because for me, Code Veronica is one of my favourite games, RE games of all time. It is, because it tells such a unique story, and it has such a big twist in it you don't see coming, and there's just so much in it that I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. Its mechanics are a little bit different. Its story between Claire and Chris and Wesker, and I don't even want to spoil that, because that game wasn't played by enough people that I feel like a remake would do it justice. But I think the problem they have, again, is, and we went through it last week, and I'll say it again, which is they've done this all in the wrong order again. They finally had the chance to retcon a Resident Evil story and make it make sense and make people want to play them. Which, instead of calling these remakes, they should have just said, "Hey, we're redoing the whole canon for Resident Evil."
Done what God of War did.
And
it's just God of War. It's not God of War remake or reboot.
Yeah, and even if they did start with 2 and we just skip 1, yeah, that's okay, cool, fine. But they should have went 2, Code Veronica, No, they should have went 3, 2, Code Veronica, but called Code Veronica 4. Then did 4, and then go from there. Where I do feel like eventually we'll get a Code Veronica remake because it's just money being left on the table. Like at some point we will get it, but by the time that comes, the storylines are going to be so interesting because you're going to have Resident Evil 2, 3, 4, 8, 7, 8. Because they're not going to remake 7, 8. Then they're going to do 4 Code Veronica, 5, 6. And it's like, where does that all fit in? And the only other hope you have really is they implement. See, I don't even want them to do that though. Some people have said that on the online, which is like, oh, they could implement some of the stuff from Code Veronica into 4. It's like they could, but they're not. You can't mesh those two stories together. They're so unique. They're so different. They're so far apart that it just wouldn't work in any way, shape, or form. And the other thing I'm worried about with Resident Evil 4 is there's a character in Resident Evil 4 that's blind and he all works on sense. And there's a moment you get caught in a cage with him, and I don't want him to become the Chase You Down guy, or I don't want the Big Cheeks to become the Chase You Down guy. Like I know that's a tool that you enjoy in RE2 with Mr. X, and obviously Nemesis with a bit of a pushover. The Big Cheese is a big enemy, but he's not the Chase You Down guy. So I just don't want that to become what happens in RE4 either, because it just doesn't need it.
It'll be interesting after Resident Evil 3, because one of the biggest complaints about Resident Evil 3, the remake, was Nemesis.
Yeah.
People weren't a fan of him. People felt he was I forget where I read it, but somewhere it said that it felt like an outdated mechanic as opposed to something that felt new and fresh and fitting for the game. I don't know if you'd agree with that. I haven't played the game, so I can't say anything to that.
I agree with it to a certain degree, where it felt like the 90s Nemesis that had just been remade for 2020. Like, it didn't feel like a huge jump in technology the way Mr. X did. And not that Mr. X was like that spectacular. If you really work it out, you can never see Mr. X throughout the whole game. If you figure it, if you know how to do it, right? So it wasn't that big a jump. But yeah, no, I can somewhat agree with that, yeah. So carry on with your thought though.
I'll be honest, I lost my
train of thought. I apologize.
No, it's fine. But as far as like Code Veronica getting remade, I think there's an important thing that's being overlooked. The team that's making this is mostly the Resident Evil 3 team, correct? The one that did Resident Evil 3 remake?
As far as we're aware, yes. With other internals coming in to help with development resources, yeah.
So I would say that there's a good bet with Resident Evil Code Veronica is more along the lines of Resident Evil 2. It's slower and more horror based. So I would actually bet that the next game to come after that, probably after 8. Well, 8's supposed to come 21.
8, then 4.
Okay,
then you're saying Code Veronica.
Yeah, that would be my bet, because I'm assuming they probably want to put more time into that game as well.
I think the problem you have with certain things is like, see with the I don't think it's a bad game, but see with the miss of Resident Evil 2 remake and its length and stuff like that, it's like, okay, you're gonna go to do the most beloved Resident Evil game, not for me, but the most beloved Resident Evil game of all time next, where you're setting Code Veronica up to fail, because even if they remake this game and it's Resident Evil 2 9s 10s, oh my god, this is the near perfect game, like this is it, then you put out Code Veronica, it's like, oh, and then there's a miss again. I feel like it's going to be that same thing where it's like, oh, it wasn't good, it wasn't as good as 4, it wasn't as good as 4. It's like, well, it can't always be as good as 4. Like, it just doesn't work like that. It's not that easy to be as good as 4 all of the time. So, I don't know, I just think it's going to be a very unfair comparison between Code Veronica and 4 if Code Veronica comes after 4. Like 2 did 3, where 3 should have been 3 should have been first.
But I don't think if 3 comes first, 3's as well received as 2 was.
No, but I don't think it's panned as bad as it is. Because if I've read so many reviews and I've watched so many podcasts, right? And it's like every single one is but compared to 2, but compared to 2. Like, so if 2's not there, 3 comes out and it's a action-based survival, dark, gritty, 5-hour experience. it's considered a great game.
I don't know if it is.
I
Like, I
I
don't
think
I
it
don't
is.
know I don't know if people consider it a great game, or they're like, "It's better than the run-of-the-mill Resident Evil game," but I'd rather them go back to Resident Evil 7, and then what if that at that point, Capcom would just be like, "We're not remaking Resident Evil
Oh
games
no,
anymore."
I get it. I get it, and we're gonna get onto a piece of news a little bit later. Trust me, Capcom do not give a crap about what people are saying about it because they are selling like gangbusters. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting one with Resident Evil 4. I don't know why Capcom are doing it dirty. I do think eventually we will get a remake. There's too much of an act for it not to get a remake, and too much money left on the table for it not to happen. They have the engine.
Yeah.
They want to
I
keep remaking games. It's gonna
Imma
happen.
be honest, I don't think they're doing it dirty.
I do if they put it out after 4. I do.
I don't think so. I think if it's a good game, even if it comes out after 4, it'll be received well. I have a bigger question, and
Resident
that's
Evil 3 is
whether
a good game.
4 will be received well.
No, I don't think so. I think
Yeah.
because they're going to cut too much to get it out too quickly,
Yeah.
which is always the biggest problem, right? And again, you can't remake something that iconic and expect it to do like I can't really think of something like the Godfather films. Like, I don't get me wrong, I've not actually seen like them from start to finish, but they are considered some of the greatest films of all time, right? If someone was to try and remake Back to the Future, that's a better example. You can't go and remake Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be as good because people's expectations go from this is going to be amazing to this is going to be the best film ever because of today's technology. I just think it's set up to fail because it's too big. It's too important.
Films and games are different. I also think,
I
like,
agree.
you could look at what's happening with Final Fantasy 7, and a lot of people assume that was gonna fail, and that's come out, and people are generally overly positive about that
I
game.
don't think there's a problem with being overly positive for it. I have a problem with it still not meeting set expectations. And from everything that I've read from hardcore fans of Final Fantasy VII, it's still not as good as the original. From what I've read.
Okay.
I can't have
Personally, I would
opinions on
disagree
that.
with that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would personally disagree with that.
Yeah, I'm not a Final Fantasy guy. We'll talk about that very soon in a second. But yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just we'll see. I guess it's hard because expectation and nostalgia are so powerful, and for it to not fit perfectly in your head, like I was I was shocked that Resident Evil 2 was. I consider it now the greatest game of the Resident Evil franchise and my favorite game of all time. Like, that's interesting. I didn't think anything could pass Resident Evil 2 OG. Like, just so I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Next question comes from Little Smee, and that was from Zyger. I'm not sure if I said thank you for the question, Zyger. Appreciate it. Next question comes from Little Smee. It says, I've never played Code Veronica. What's the best way to play it now? Do I need to buy a classic console? No, it's on backwards compatible. Xbox 360 to Xbox One. So if you have an Xbox One, you can play it, buy it in the store right now. I'd probably wait for a sale to go on. Come on, if I'm honest with you. But remember, Code Veronica is an old game. First came out on Dreamcast, was remastered for like a PS2 to a 360. It's now running on one, so it's not like the prettiest game anymore. It's still got its fixed camera angles, and you stop to move to shoot and stuff. As long as you understand what you're getting from the game, I think you can have a great time and experience such a great story. But if you're expecting to get get even 2 or 3 remake style, no, it's not that. So yeah, just go with the right expectations, I'd say. But definitely go play it. Very, very good. Crush, let's jump into War Spin in our box. Different box this week.
Yeah.
Different box this week, but I did say a while ago that once Final Fantasy VII was out, we would speak about it on this podcast due to the fact it is coming to this platform. Obviously, we're both playing it on PS4 because we have to wait a whole year before we get it. I've started it, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. No spoilers, of course. So
obviously.
no need to worry about that. But what are you thinking about Final Fantasy VII, my friend?
I'm really, really loving the game. I think the original, so the time period of the game is about 5 hours in the original, right?
Mm-hmm.
They took 5-hour content, they made it 30 to 40 hours, depending who you ask. I'm on chapter 14, so I have another 5 chapters left, 4 chapters
4
left.
chapters,
So
I think there's 18, yeah.
yeah. So I really, really like the changes. I like the way they rate up the main trio in Avalanche other than Barrett and everybody.
Hmm.
Wedge, Jesse, and Biggs. I really love what they did with those characters. I liked it in the demo, and I think when we talked about it, I did mention that in the demo.
Yeah,
But as you play, you get to see them more and you get to know them a lot more and know more about their past and everything that everything just sort of builds up on each other.
yeah,
Whereas in the original, those characters were throwaway characters. People like those characters because they really like Final Fantasy VII and they replayed it so many times. And imagine a lot of kids replayed the beginning section a lot.
me.
I did, you did.
Yep.
So I'm sure there are a bunch of people who are like, those are my favorite characters because that's like all they ever played.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like the way they build and fleshed out all the characters. And even later on when you meet Aerith, I'm not gonna get into any
Yeah.
spoilers
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
but they do build her out to where she's more like the original Japanese version, where in the translated version is like really bad. And the translated version, as far as I remember, and I haven't played Final Fantasy VII in a while, she was more of a
Damsel in
holier than
distress.
thou character.
Got it.
Yeah,
I got you. I got you.
yeah, she was more where in this one she is more whimsical, more like playful and all that stuff where I
Yeah.
feel like the characterization is in general like better and a lot more likable than she was in the original.
Y-
Uh Barrett, I think the same thing with Barrett. Barrett's a lot more likable in this one. I think there's a lot of lines and a lot of moments, and it's not necessarily all during cutscenes, and sometimes it's just while you're walking, Barrett will say something or something
Yeah.
along those lines, which kind of happened in Final Fantasy 15 as well, which they've sort of it seems like they've built on where some of the best moments aren't necessarily cutscene moments, right?
Yeah, I think for me it's really interesting because it's a weird analogy, but stick with me on it. I feel like, and I said it, it's like, you know, like a kid that's deaf and they put on the hearing aids for the first time and you can see a baby and they light up and they can finally hear things and they can hear their mom's voice for the first time. I kind of feel maybe something like that. I don't know how that feels, but that's that similar premise with this game where I've seen Final Fantasy be played so many times. My granddad played this game to death. I was brought up around this game, the same with Resident Evil, hence why I've got such a strong connection to them. And I played the opening of Final Fantasy VII, like you said, probably 20, 30, 40 times, seriously. Just because I couldn't get past that point because of certain problems, because at the time I couldn't read properly. So for me, I'm playing this game and I'm like, wow, there's so much here. Like these characters they're so well written, they're so well performed. They obviously the graphics of this game are next level. For me, I think it's a beautiful game. I'm playing it
Yeah.
it's one of those experiences I've taken away from work and I've made it just for me, and I'm playing it, and Haley's watching. Like Haley was on this, I was like, oh, I'm gonna play Final Fantasy. She's like, oh yeah, I might watch, blah blah. And then she's playing on her Switch at the time, and she's like, oh, I'm putting my Switch down, and I'm like, that's when you know you've got something there, right?
Yeah.
I'm only about an hour and a half in, so I've just got to the train. Literally, that's where I stopped, and I'm fine with taking it slow. I'm fine with just enjoying what's being said. I agree with you on the characters that I didn't even know existed in a way. Like I knew they were there, but they wasn't there in my head. Like Wedge and same with Jesse. Like they were there, but I'm just like, I'm not reading their dialogue. I don't care. I care about Barrett because he's a big black guy and I'm black and I can relate to that. And I care about Clad because that's my main character. And I care about Tifa because I liked her moves, and that was it. And that's as far as I got in the game ever. I've gotten all the way, and this is not a spoiler because it's in the original. I've not even got this far in the remake, but as far as I got in that game was, I think it's just past the tan that you go to after you do the cross dressing. Like I must be about an hour after that. That's as far as I ever got in the game.
So you didn't even finish like okay,
I never
so you
finished
didn't
this
even finish
one.
everything that's based off. So you don't know what happens at the end of this one.
And I've not had anything
Got it.
spoiled, and nothing's been spoiled
Oh,
for me.
okay.
So
Got
it's
it.
like I was listening to a podcast the other day, and I'm like, oh yeah, and I went, nope, pause. It's like
Yeah, just a big word of warning, like
YouTube
I
is
know that
spoiling
Final
shit.
Fantasy VII is an old game.
Yeah,
But there's a lot of people who haven't experienced it. There's a lot of people. This game came out what 97,
yeah,
the
or
original.
maybe
Yeah,
even. Let me check that. Go on, carry on.
I think it was 97. Like, there's no need for you to spoil it because there's a ton of people who have never played it, and this is gonna be their first introduction to the whole franchise. So don't spoil anything that happens in this game. Don't spoil any of the big stuff that happens in the future. Although, like, some of that's like easily accessible and people probably already know about it.
Yeah.
Don't go out of your way to spoil it for no reason just because you played it 23 years ago or whatever it ends
Yeah,
up being.
you was correct. It was 97. Yeah, it's a very strange experience that I'm having with it, but I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I'm loving every moment of it. The combat, like we have to get
Oh,
into
dude.
that. I generally think this is the best Final Fantasy game combat style that I've ever played. It builds on Final Fantasy 15 in such a great way. I didn't like it. It's not. No, I shouldn't say that. I was struggling to get used to it at first, and understanding the time meter, and understanding this, and understanding shortcuts were in the game, which I didn't know till like 20 minutes before I finished. I was like, oh, there's a shortcut. And now I can do spells quicker, and now I can get my potions, and now I can. I'm like, oh man, this is really good, and it plays so fluently, and
Yeah.
it works, and that's
Yeah.
and it's just something that I wasn't expecting. Like I remember when it wasn't going to be turn based, and I know people were very upset by that at the time. And now
Yeah.
that I'm playing it, I'm like, I don't think I ever want to play another Final Fantasy game that isn't in this style of gameplay.
Yeah. It my thing is like it's still incredibly tactical because if you go around just swinging your sword doesn't do a lot of damage until the combo ender usually.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing like a little damage until the combo ender.
Yeah, I
Um,
learned that with Barra. I'm shooting his gun at these things. It's like one, 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 one. I'm like, what the hell? I'm doing something.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, do an ability, do a spell, do
fun fact, if you're playing Barrett and you're shooting his gun and when he goes for the moment that he's about to reload, you could press triangle to start your overcharge and
Yeah.
you cancel the whole reload animation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So there's little stuff there's a lot of little stuff like that in the game where it also does feel like you can manipulate the combat to do even better, which makes it feel even more action oriented while also feeling super tactical. Because there were times where I was running into fights and I was just swinging the sword and I was like, why aren't these guys dying? Because I'm
Yeah.
fighting three tougher enemies and I'm not using any abilities. I'm not using anybody's abilities and
Yeah.
everybody's full on meter. And it's like, oh, this is why I'm dying because I'm being stupid. I'm
Yeah,
not playing the game the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I am getting punished because I should be punished.
but I
Because if I
also,
was at that point in the original, just doing the normal attacks, I'm gonna lose anyway.
yeah. Yeah, no, I also, but it does like find that fine balance between teaching you without telling you, where it's like, do it again then. You failed, like you died, do it again. And you do it again and do it again. And it's like, oh yeah, I meant to use spells. Like I was playing the boss, the first main boss. And and it's like there's a line that gets said from Barrett, no, from Claire to Barrett. And I didn't hear it. And so, because I was so focused, and Hay was like, hey, you need to use this. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I did it. And I was like, oh shit, I just done 300 damage. And it's like, he did tell you need. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. So
it's a really like it's a really clean way to start introducing weaknesses of enemies.
Yeah.
And later on that becomes easier. It's not necessarily through dialogue, but it's just an introduction to that.
I just think it's very cool that it's like this person has this information, which he should have because of his situation, and he's telling it to his teammates, and then it's then your job to then put that in place, like make it happen.
Yeah,
it's just unique. It's not something we get in video games. Like it's like breaking the fourth wall without breaking the fourth wall, really. Where
because
it's like
it's a group of people. It's like
exactly.
It makes sense why he's saying that.
Yeah,
and because Cloud has dealt with these things. He's been a part of Shinra. He's soldier.
Yeah.
So it makes sense why Cloud knows these things.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's just very everything feels from the hour I played again, not very long. I'm sure you can tell me if not, but it just feels so well written. Like everything feels extremely well written.
The only parts that I think aren't as well written is some of the side quests. The problem I have with the side quests is that the character models and the character models just aren't really good.
Got ya.
So like you go through the main quest and you have these gorgeous character models that interact, and then you go and do a side quest and it looks like it's a PS3 game.
Yeah, it's the difference between like a GTA and a Rockstar game and then this then really, where it's like even GTA's like when you go through it feels, or maybe Witch is a better example, where like it's consistently, if it's not consistently perfect, it's consistently brilliant. where
Yeah.
maybe there's a little bit of a dip in like, okay, this side animation, you've got to go make this character, and they may have had to get it rushed out. It may have been a number
Yeah.
of things, but yeah,
But for the most part, it's really good in that. Yeah. But all the side content makes sense because Cloud is a mercenary and
yeah,
he's doing mercenary work. So all that makes sense. I know some people are like the side quests feel out of place and all this, and I'm like the side quests feel out of place if you look at the grand scheme of Final Fantasy.
got
But you
ya.
have to remember the characters have no knowledge of that. They aren't in the grand scheme of Final Fantasy. They don't know what's happening in the future. They don't know what's going to happen down the line. All they know is their current situation.
Yeah.
And the way this remake's been made is very much so. This is just this is a whole game. It has a beginning, middle, and an end. It doesn't feel out of place. It doesn't feel like they ripped part of the story out to sort of milk it from the fans. At least
Yeah.
not to me. I know people have different opinions on that.
So,
You're
are we not
yeah.
getting a part 2? Then
No, I think we are.
we are.
I think this is going to be like Final Fantasy 7 is going to be its own franchise in terms of like it will have a part 1 and a part 2. But each game will
Oh,
have a beginning, middle, and
middle and
end where
ends.
it will
Yeah,
be a complete story.
got you.
And with the way at least with the way they've done it for this one, if they give the same love and care to the story and the world, especially the world is so gorgeous and
Yeah.
so a lot of times it feels like it is a living world. Um, if they give that to the future games, I'm 100% on board and ready for it.
So I don't know because I'm not as far as you. Like, does it feel like, and you've played the original, so you kind of know what's coming and stuff. Like, does it feel like it's been ripped? Like, there's a part of the game that's missing. Like,
No.
or you're very happy with what you've got.
I think that we have more
Okay.
of the original game in this than the old one.
So let me rephrase the question then. Like, is it worth the $60? Because obviously that's a big thing right now, especially with Resident Evil 3 that's just dropped. Where it's like,
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the length of time as such. I'm talking
Yeah.
more about the content that's there, and like, is it worth the money? Do you think, from your point of view? And is it?
Yeah.
Just that. Really.
I think it is. I think the story that you get in it is worth the money because I think if they took the 5 hours and kept the story relatively the same and they didn't expand anything and you got just that, I don't think it's worth it. But
Got ya.
that's not what they did. What they did is they fleshed it out. When you go to the Honeybee Inn and you do all that stuff, which is the cross-dressing stuff,
Got ya. Thank you.
all that stuff feels like, oh, I get it. I understand. There's more to do than just that. There's more agency throughout the whole game, I feel like. It's not a simple 1-to-1, it's a 1-to-5.
Just
Where when something was small, they turned it a lot bigger and made it more worthwhile.
I know there's a big thing that people are worried about, especially the transgender community and the LGBT community with the cross-dressing stuff. Is that done tastefully enough that it's not disrespectful?
I think it's done very well. I think it's
Okay.
done as good as they could have done it.
Got
If they
ya.
weren't going to do it this way, it would have been best to cut it out.
Yeah.
Again, I can't speak for the
No, you
for the
can't speak for a
community.
community that you're not in, but yeah.
Yeah. So to me, it seemed tasteful, but
Yeah.
there's a possibility that it was tasteless. But I feel like if it was, we would have heard about it by now.
Yeah, more than
So
likely. Well, there's only one person I wait for on that sort of thing, which is Laura. Laura Kate Dow. She writes some of the best op-eds and articles on this sort of topics. So I'll wait to hear from her point of view on this one. But yeah, I just wondered because I've not got there yet.
yeah, so I think it's done
From
well.
you can only talk from your point of view at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Got you. Fair enough. Anything we're missing? I know we'll talk about it again next week and the week after, I'm sure, just because I'll be playing it and you would have finished it by then. But yeah, I mean, if I can get it done quick enough, I'd love to do a spoiler cast.
Yeah. Not gonna spoil it, but the way you get summons later on is actually really good.
Cool.
Not all the summons, because you do find some summons like normal items.
Yeah.
But there are certain summons that are done really, really well.
Cool.
So yeah.
I've only ever seen one, so that will be fun.
Yeah. The summons are also like really dope. The animations for the summons. I don't know if you've gotten to do one yet.
No,
I can't remember if you have at that point.
No.
Yeah. They're done very, very well. So
Fair enough. Anything else you've been playing, Crash?
No.
How's Valorant?
I hate you. I hate you. Dude. Oh man, I'm still not in that, bro. That's just mean. That's you're
Yeah, I know. I know.
All
Moving on. The news this week. The big story that's come out this week, which again I didn't even put as topic of the show, which means I don't believe it in the slightest. Xbox is buying Sega. The rumors have been going around for so long. There was an image that was made, which someone made it and was like, "This is everything wrong with this image." So here we go. It was Xbox Game Studios, Sega, Power Your Dreams. It was June 14th at 9 a.m. PDT, 12 p.m. Eastern, live on Mixer, other platform, and yeah, tune in. So it was meant to be today. It's meant to be today. Xbox is meant to be announcing that they're buying Sega or heavily doing something with Sega. I call bullshit. I think this is just someone bored and wanting to stir up ish. Hence why I've put it on the show, because it's an Xbox rumor. That's what we do here. We cover rumors, we cover news, we cover all that stuff. But I don't believe it. I don't think this is true. It just doesn't make sense. So yeah,
I agree.
Don't get me wrong. I'd love for it to be true. Like, imagine all that IP Xbox would own. It would be ridiculous. But also in the same breath, I think there's better stuff out there than Sega right now to buy.
I don't think Microsoft needs another Sega, because that's kind of what they got with Replay. I feel like they got this like wealth of older
oh, you mean Rare?
IP. Rare, not Replay.
Yeah, Rare Replay is what you're thinking.
Rare Replay, yeah. They got a bunch of like older IPs that they can still go back to and sort of have that nostalgia base. And while Sega does have some newer ones, I don't think it's necessary for them to reach into their pocket for something like Sega.
I just think
probably spend that money better.
I was gonna say, I think it's too expensive for, in my opinion, a lot of mediocre IP. Don't get me wrong, there's some iconic IP in there. Obviously, Sonic being the biggest one. But yeah, I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong, but there's no one else has come out and verified this. No one else has come out and said, like, really gone in with this. I'm like, so take it with a pinch of salt. I don't believe it. I think it's a lie. So yeah,
I agree.
Next up, Final Fantasy VII, selling really well in the UK, Crash. It is number 1 on the top 10 physical sales. Number 2 being Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Number 3 being Animal Crossing. Number 4 being FIFA 20. Number 5 being Mario Kart. Number 6 being Forza Horizon 4. Number 7 being Resident Evil 3. Number 8, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And number 9 being Grand Theft Auto 5, with number 10 being The Last of Us Remastered.
Delay a game and you up the sales. Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk it, eh? Who would have thunk it?
Yeah.
But yeah, congratulations to Final Fantasy. I honestly can't wait for Xbox fans to get their hands on it. I can't wait to buy it again on Xbox and get the achievements on it. So, obviously you're gonna have to wait a long time for it, but it'll be worth it when it comes. If you don't own a PlayStation, totally understand. Wait, just wait. Hopefully this is. I'm really hoping this is gonna be the last of this bullshit though. Just so we're very clear. Timed exclusives are so poisonous to the industry. I understand exclusives in general, and even I understand third-party exclusives. Got no problem with that. But timed exclusive DLC, timed exclusive games is just poisonous, and I don't think it just doesn't help anybody. It only helps the person who's forked out on the money. And even then, it's like, I don't know. If I put it this way, if I wasn't having to cover it and having to talk about it and wanting to have an opinion, I wouldn't have bought it. I would have waited, just out of principle.
Yeah, I don't think that these deals will necessarily happen anymore. I think this deal's been in place for how long? This game's been in production for how long?
I don't think it's going to happen with Xbox. I do think PlayStation will continue to keep doing this bullshit.
You think so?
Yeah, it works for them. They have.
Yeah.
You got to be realistic. But we are. The one thing I will say though is, and that's interesting for Sony, is they've run out of their nostalgia power. They're getting very close. Crash Bandicoot Remastered, Spyro Remastered, Final Fantasy, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3. These were all iconic PlayStation games, right?
Yeah.
We haven't got that again next gen. Like, really? Like those ones that people are clamoring for, like that. Where I feel like it's going to be a much more even playing field across the board.
So there's no reason to give PlayStation a Final Fantasy, whatever.
I just you're not if they. I'm trying to think of something that would. people are going to disagree with me, and it's like, don't get me wrong, I know Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9. I know. But I'm talking about stuff outside of one genre specifically. Like,
yeah. And stuff that like transcends
Kingdom,
that genre.
again,
Because
Kingdom,
Final Fantasy 8 is very much Final Fantasy, right?
yeah,
Final Fantasy 7 was bigger than Final Fantasy in a lot of regards.
yeah, but the same thing was like Kingdom Hearts. It's like, that's no longer a PlayStation franchise anymore. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be an interesting one.
But maybe that's why Sony will be like, yo, we'll give you twice as much as we did last time.
Yeah, maybe.
And who knows? Like, maybe Ubisoft's like, we're remaking the original Splinter Cell, and Sony's like, yo, that wasn't on our platform, but we'll give you 3 times the money. I don't think they would do that, but that'd be funny. That'd be funny.
Yeah,
that would be jokes.
Yeah, but who would?
I don't think it would do well if it was on Sony.
Yeah,
there isn't that like sort of nostalgia.
That's what I mean.
Like,
there's just not that nostalgia for those type of games. Crash, where's my new Fight Night game, Crash?
Dude, that's never coming, and probably because for the same reason we'll never get a Def Jam. The deals for the fighters,
I know.
in general, it's just horrible for them.
Yeah, I
know.
Like, it's too
we
much
know
hard
how much
work.
we're worth now.
Yeah.
If you want to pay us like for an individual fighter, it'll be 6 figures to 7 figures.
Can you imagine how much Ludacris would cost nowadays?
Dude, you would not be able to. Like a label would.
Do you have Def Jam Icon? Do you have it?
I don't think so.
I wonder if it's backwards compat. I'd love to do a Let's Play fight series with you on like of us playing that game, just slapping each other up with rappers.
I have absolutely no clue if that's.
I don't even know if it's backwards. Yeah, me either.
I don't think so.
No, nor do I. Because again, licensing.
Yeah. So don't like. That's why those won't happen.
Yeah, I know.
I think with WWE, and a lot of people are like, well, WWE keeps doing it.
Dude, that's one company.
Yeah, and also like WWE owns the likeness for all their characters.
WWE own. Me and Haley have been watching wrestling documentaries on WWE Network. This last week we've been loving it. It's been brilliant. Loved it. It's like, yo, don't tell Haley. I don't like it when she knows that I like when we do things together, because then she might stop doing them. But we've been spending a lot of time together, and it's been really fun for me. But don't tell her, okay?
Got it.
Oh, you heard that, Haley? My bad. But yeah, I don't know. It's man. Damn. Moving on. Resident Evil 3 Remake ships 2 million copies in 5 days. Resident Evil 3 Remake has shipped more than 2 million copies in 5 days after the release, Capcom announced today. The publisher said nearly half of the Xbox One, PS4, and PC game sales have come digitally. The reimagined Resident Evil 3 is off to a slower start, than Resident Evil 2 Remake, which shipped 3 million within 5 days of sale. However, the difference in shipments between two games nearly replicates the sales ratio between the original PlayStation inspirations. In 1998, Resident Evil 2 cumulatively sold 4.96 million copies, while in 1999, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis sold 3.5 million units. So, there you have it. I mean, this was pretty obvious, right? Like, Resident Evil 2 is the second most iconic Resident Evil game of all time. Resident Evil 3 is the bastard child of the series. People gave it a chance, but
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what this made me realize? The possibility, not taking anything away from Resident Evil 2, but Resident Evil 2's popularity could also be in part to Resident Evil 4, where people see Leon in Resident Evil 4 and they see Leon in this. And there's that comparison. There's like that more of ease of going into it.
I don't think so.
A completely different character. You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. I think it's more a case of just there's so many things. Just like Resident Evil 2 is considered one of the best Resident Evil games of all time, right? So you've got not only the hardcore of the hardcore Resident Evil audience that would buy every Resident Evil game like me, even the bad ones, but then you have the people that missed Resident Evil 2 and hated Fitz camera angles and hated this and hated that, and they fixed all that, and we're now in a world where we don't have oversaturation in survival horror, and like that series, that game specifically, I should say, sorry, is so iconic that it was just like it's like Final Fantasy 7. It is like I didn't get to really experience it the first time. That game's going to sell absolutely gangbusters, where I do think 8's not going to sell as well, 9's not going to sell as well if it happened. It's just going to have that effect the same way. They're still going to sell well, like 3 million in 5 days is nothing to sniff at. But it's not going to be as well
Not
as
as
the
well.
iconic one. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Next up, Cyberpunk 2077 will get DLC at least as large as The Witcher 3's announced before launch. Cyberpunk 2077 will receive additional DLC post-launch, including a multiplayer mode. During a recent investors call reviewing the company's most recent financial quarter, CD Projekt Red president Adam Klitzky revealed additional details about Cyberpunk DLC, including the potential length and announcement window. During a Polish language meeting with investors, Klitzky was. Do you think I got that right? Klinsky? Klinsky. There's an in. Klinsky.
I think it's Kaczynski.
Kaczynski.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I could be wrong.
No, you could be right, definitely. Was asked about following on DLC for Cyberpunk 2077, which is set to release on September 17th. Say again, how'd you say it?
Kaczynski.
I'll get it. Was asked how big the DLC will be and when they will announce. As translated by IGN Poland, Chininsky revealed that players can expect expansion size no less than Witcher 3, considering that Blood and Wine and the Heart of Stone DLC combined are around 40 hours of extra content, give or take. That's quite a bold statement. Crash.
Yep.
This doesn't surprise us, does it?
No.
I don't think this like it's done or anything like that.
No.
Like usually I get annoyed at these companies when they announce things beforehand. It's like, are you holding it back from the game? Blah blah blah. With CD Projekt Red, I have all the faith in the world in them.
They're very consumer heavy.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people doing like the normal complaint, like, oh, why couldn't it be in the game? Da da da. Like it's clearly not done.
Yeah.
Especially the DLC from them it's big content.
It's expansions.
DLC,
They're expansions.
DLC isn't a fair statement.
Yeah, they're expansions.
I agree with that.
Yeah, cool. I mean, it's hard to get excited for an expansion that we haven't played the game.
We haven't got
yet.
the game yet. Yeah.
Yeah, as much as I've seen Cyberpunk behind closed doors, love it. It looks amazing. Cannot wait to play it. But yeah, I need to just gotta wait on that one before I start getting too hyped. Next up, the ESRB announces new rating labels for loot boxes. This is something that's been in the works for a while. The ESRB has announced new rating labels for games with loot boxes and other randomized in-game purchases. The ESRB created in-game purchase rating labels for games back in 2018 as a response to the loot box disclosure that reached different state governments in the US and elsewhere in the world. Like Belgium, and now the company has created a new label for random items. The label will still feature in-game purchases, but now the label will say in-game purchases in brackets, including random items, end brackets. Sorry, how do you say it when you're talking about brackets? Is it open bracket, close bracket? Is that right?
I think so.
Let me ask Haley.
I'm not too sure.
When you're talking, if you're like quoting something like that, would you say open bracket, close bracket? She says you can do.
Do not have
She
to.
doesn't know. Well, I feel like if I'm explaining it to somebody, you need to make sure it's clear that you're telling them open bracket, close. That's how I'm going to say it. I don't know if I didn't go to journalism school. I don't know. I'm sorry, okay? I have a bandana on. We're struggling out here, all right? As for when players can expect an announcement for the DLC, Crash. DLC.
Kaczynski.
Thank you. Told investors to expect a similar scenario to what we had for The Witcher 3.
I'll be honest, I completely.
It's fine. Don't worry, brother. Don't worry, I got you. I'll get us through this. CD Projekt famously announced both Witcher 3 expansion a week before the game's launch, meaning CD Projekt could potentially announce the DLC for Cyberpunk shortly before the game is released. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Sounds good. I'm excited for Cyberpunk. Especially with them keep doubling down. It's like, no, it's not getting delayed. No, it's not getting delayed. No, it's not getting delayed.
I feel like
I believe
they would tell people if it was delayed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't believe it's bullshit. I feel like it's like, oh, man, we're actually going to get this game on time.
Yeah.
Crash.
Yeah,
Something that's not on the docket that I wanted to talk about. We keep saying...
I hate it.
Really? I'm just going to ask you to marry me, but damn. Yeah, we keep talking about what's next. What's next?
Yeah.
We're forgetting. The trailer dropped yesterday. Gears of War Tactics.
Yes,
Did you watch the
that's a
trailer?
really good point. No, I don't watch anything.
Dude, it looks really good.
I know. I 100% believe that, but
It
I don't want to watch.
looks really, really good. I'm not sure if you can rename the characters, but it did show the recruitment process in the
Yeah, so
characters.
that's I was talking to Ben last night, and Ben was like, "Yeah, there's a set amount of characters that are like integral to the story, and if they're on a mission, you have to like get out with them alive.
Yeah.
If they die, you have to restart it. But there are characters that you can customize and all that
No, I
stuff.
know you can
I don't know about the
customize them,
rename.
but I
I
don't know
don't know
if you
about the
can name
renaming
them.
process.
Yeah. Yeah, but
It's probably somewhere in there, I'd imagine. I could be wrong about
I
that.
hope
but
so. I just want a full team in my chat. I think that'd be really, really cool and help.
Honestly, that's one of the funnest things about XCOM.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, Fix died.
That's why I watched you play it, honestly.
Fix 2.0.
Fix 2.0, Fix 3.0, Fix 4.0. Why does this guy keep dying? Yeah, no,
It's always one character that'll die every time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I really enjoyed what I saw. The story actually looks very, very interesting. Takes place 15 years before Gears of War ever happened. This shows them nuking the world, and it's a very dope trailer. Go check it out if you haven't watched it. But it went into more gameplay mechanics, and obviously, like I just said, the recruitment process and stuff like that. And I'm forgetting this game comes out in 10 days.
Yeah, I think, oh man, it's so interesting as to why it doesn't have more hype around
Where's
it.
the marketing? I was just about to say that. It's like, what is going on in Xbox marketing division at the moment? And is this because we're at the end of a generation? Is this because they don't think it's going to do well again? Because I made the excuses for him for Bleeding Edge. I made the excuses for him for Ori, which Ori had a decent push enough. What is going on? It's weird. Like, because we're getting first party and third party exclusives coming out, but they're just not. They're not there yet.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of, which I don't know if this is right, I'm hoping this is the case, that it's on PC right now, and they don't expect, even with a big push, for it to get crazy sales on PC. So they're hoping we'll wait it out. We'll wait for this to be ready on console, and then we'll give it the big push when it's ready on console.
That also being said, I also pay for YouTube Premium. I also watch TV through Netflix, Amazon Prime. So I wouldn't see TV ads for it anyway. I only see targeted ads.
That is very true.
So if you're seeing ads for it, let me know, because I'm just not seeing them.
Yeah. It's also kind of weird because like Microsoft doesn't have a lot of Twitch ads now.
No, because everything's on Mixer.
And that's where, like, if I see ads, I usually see it on Twitch.
Yeah.
YouTube.
You're right.
I don't see ads there.
Yeah.
So it is on Twitch, and Twitch, I can't think of the last time I saw.
That's the only reason why I subbed to you the other day. I literally hit ad as soon as I come in this room.
And you're like,
nope,
oh, I can't do this.
Nope. Have £5. I'm not doing it with this shit. No way. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it though. So I don't know who's reviewing it for myxboxandme.com. I should probably talk to the team. Team, you must listen to this podcast, hopefully. Talk to me.
If you don't listen to the podcast, you're fired.
Chris fired you. Damn.
Yeah. They'll never know about it, so they'll keep going.
I'm taking away your login information. Next, Games will go this month. Project Cars 2 available April 1st to April 30th. Knights of the Pen Pal available April 16th to May 15th. Fable Anniversary available April 1st to April 15th. Toy Box Turbos available April 16th to April 30th. Crash. That is it this week, my friend. If anything big drops, we will do a bonus episode.
Yeah.
But let's plug. I'll go first. You can go next. We are bringing back From the Gamers. I have already booked in, like, guests coming out my butt cheeks. It's ridiculous. So if you're interested in talking about other, it's different to my Xbox and me. We're not doing the whole news and this, that, and the other. It's going to be very topic based. It will still come out as a full podcast somewhere, but on my YouTube channel, which is where it's going to go, it's going to be very clips. So unless we're talking, if we do like what we've been playing, unless it's a game that is hitting, like it's just came out and it's relevant, it won't go up as a clip. But like Resident Evil 4, that topic will go up, and you'll see it's going to start this week, starting today actually. I'm recording today. Are you at 1?
Yeah.
Well,
1.
Yeah.
I should be. Yeah.
Well, we'll figure it out. If you're not, you're not. I'll make it work. But yeah, until then, Kresh, what are you going to plug?
Twitch.tv/Kreshnick.
He's back.
Yesterday I took my first day off.
Boo!
Live. I needed it. I was
Fair
like,
enough.
I could go live right now. I feel tired though. It's not gonna be a good stream.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take off. I'm gonna relax. Come back at it tomorrow.
Back at it like a bad habit.
Yeah.
No? Oh. Chris, before we go, actually, because I need to ask you one thing, because I know full well you've heard this song. So, what are your opinions on Tootsie Slide?
Why do you assume I've heard that song?
Chris, you've heard the song.
I can tell you that I've heard about 5 seconds of the song.
It goes left foot up, right
Yeah,
foot
no.
slide.
I don't support. I don't.
Right foot slide. You can't hear Chris now because I just muted him. So left foot up, right foot slide, left foot up. Chris. Oh, he's left. Oh. Until next time, I will love you, leave you, and see you later. Bye, Chris.
Bye.